Hey, buddy, what you doing?
Is it Christmas yet?
No, sorry, not yet.
I can't wait for Christmas.
Yeah, I can't wait for Christmas either. In fact, let's celebrate now.
Welcome to the Can't Wait for Christmas podcast.
Howdy ho ho ho, you old believers! It's me, Tim Babb, with a bonus episode of the Can't Wait for Christmas podcast. Each year, we here at the Christmas Podcast Network like to get together for a group episode. And while we weren't able to get all the hosts from the network, we did get quite a few of us together to discuss the holiday, classic? Glo Friends Save Christmas. But before we get to that, I wanted to remind you to vote and spread the word about the Christmas Bowl. Only a week left to vote when this episode drops, so go to can'twaitforchristmaspod.com and vote for either mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie, or hot cocoa. And remember, if you help spread the word by adding one of our Christmas Bowl Facebook frames to your profile picture and commenting on our Facebook page, you could win a 12 months of Christmas calendar from the Can't Wait for Christmas podcast store and a beautiful, handmade, upcycled vintage Disney pocket wallet from Kristen's Boartique store. And if you haven't made your Christmas cards yet, there's still time to customize one of the many templates we have in the Can't Wait for Christmas official Zazzle store. Okay, links to all that will be in the show notes. And now, I turn it over to Brian Earl from Christmas Past.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's yours truly, Brian Earl, here from Christmas Past. I hope wherever you happen to be in the world that it's somewhere nice and that you are feeling the Christmas spirit, just as I always am. And my friends here are as well. Why don't we go around the room and see who's with me here? We have Todd Killian. Hi.
Hello.
Now, Todd, you are the host of a podcast called Christmas Clatter, which has been around since March of 2019, correct?
May of 2019, yes.
And for those who've never heard it before, how would you describe it?
It's just we just discuss everything that makes Christmas special, whether it's music or movies or food or decorations or toys or even those quiet moments of reflection people seem to enjoy around the holidays. If it's something you do at Christmas, well, it's a game to talk about. So.
All right. And so now that the Christmas season is picking up, you're going to be doing more episodes. Is that correct?
Yes, I had 2 episodes in November. I'll have at least 2 more in December. I'm thinking about a third one, but 2 for sure coming up in December.
Well, we're looking forward to that. And up next, all the way down on the other side of the planet, with special arrangements made so that we could make this work. It's 8 p.m. here in California, and in New Zealand, what time is it, Duane Bailey?
It is 10 past 5 p.m.
And
on Sunday.
Yep. And Tim's doing a little math over there. We'll get to that in a moment. Couldn't help notice behind you is a drum set. Take that to mean that you're a musician. And it's only fitting that your podcast is
Tinsel Tunes. Name courtesy of yours truly. Oh, of yourself, I should say.
His truly? Is
yes.
that how that goes? Okay.
Yeah. Yours truly, yeah. So, no, I've been going now since August 2018. So over a year now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, every month you tell the story behind Christmas music, or it's either the story behind a song or a little sampling of Christmas music from movies, etc., right?
That's correct. So I've done a couple of episodes where I've taken a movie like Santa Claus or Elf and discussed a bit about the songs throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. And in other episodes, I've just taken a song and dived deep into that and its history and its different versions and how it's perceived. So, yes. Yeah.
Well, up next we have Mike Westfall in Orlando, Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Close enough.
Close enough? Where are you in Florida?
It's a little south of Orlando, so we can say Orlando.
Okay, somewhat near the Advent Calendar House, whatever that is.
Absolutely. It's my little tiny bungalow where I watch Christmas specials all through December.
And so some of the ones that you have up on coming for this year, I happen to know one of them, which is, which one was that, by the way?
Cricket on the Hearth.
Cricket on the Hearth, yes. Oh, my goodness. And then, and the reason I know that, guys, is because I'm on that episode. So what other things are in store for this season?
Well, we kick off December 1st with Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Heard of it?
And we do some obscure ones like the one we're covering tonight, but we're ending on Christmas Eve with Rudolph. Spoilers.
The original Rudolph?
The original, yes.
Perfect.
One I haven't gotten to yet, and I figured, you know what, we need to address the spotted elephant in the room.
Got that reference. Okay, and last but not least, we have from Redwood City, California. It's a comedian and podcaster behind Can't Wait for Christmas, Mr. Tim Babb. Hello.
That's me. Yes, it is Can't Wait for Christmas, the podcast that takes a comical look at all things Christmas. And currently is in the middle of voting for what you think is the best Christmas food. It's down to hot cocoa, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie. So be sure and vote before December 13th. Plug, 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 plug.
And is hot cocoa a Christmas food? That those all food and beverages are in the same category? It
all sort of swirled together. Yeah, it was hot cocoa versus eggnog at the beginning. I thought they both would get knocked out by now, but cocoa made it all the way to the end.
So, Tim, you are actually the elder statesman of the group. You've been doing this longer than any of us since 2015 with your show.
Back in my day, we didn't have Christmas podcasts. You listened to a little tune on the radio and you liked it.
Well, guys, I don't know if any of you noticed, but I'm glowing, and that was that was in preparation for the reason that we all came together, because we are here to discuss one of the true masterpieces of Christmas animation from the 80s, 1985's Glo Friends Save Christmas. And
we've still got a straight face.
No, that didn't last long. So FYI, everybody, we had grand plans of pretending that we all thought this was the most wonderful thing ever. And that lasted all of about 5 seconds, didn't it? We all have strong opinions on it for sure. And I'm going to guess that I tend to have a more favorable opinion of this. And we can get into all of those reasons why. But maybe that's a good way to start off. Let's see, out of 1 to 5 candy canes, how do we rate this? I'm going to give it a 4, honestly. Why don't we see?
Ow.
Todd, where do you fall?
I will give it a solid 2.75 candy canes.
It seems like you really crunched the numbers on that one.
And the candy canes.
Duane, what do you say?
I'll give it 1 red stripe, no white stripe.
Oh my! Well, what does that even mean?
I just don't like it. It's not even in the colors of the candy cane, just one color.
Okay.
Spoilers.
That would be a 0.5 then.
Yeah. And trivia tidbit.
Yes.
Candy canes, the original candy canes didn't actually have white stripes. They were all white. Just thought I'd throw that in there. All right, Mike, where do you fall on the candy cane spectrum?
Well, since we're snapping candy canes, I'm going to do a little lower than Todd and say 2.5 for effort. This is effectively a pilot for the Glo Friends show that happened later. So
That's amazing.
Yes.
That someone saw this and said, let's make a series out of this. We did it. This is amazing. We're all geniuses. Let's give ourselves raises. Oh, spoiler alert. My candy cane rating is I gave away all the candy canes, crushed them into dust, and threw them at the director. If this is how the Glo words have to save Christmas, maybe Christmas isn't worth saving.
Okay, so cards on the table. My prediction came to be correct. I definitely like
you. And good night.
Okay, so have you ever played that game when you're a kid? Like one person starts to tell a story and then they hand it off to the next person who has to continue the story. Let's see if we can do a plot synopsis of this movie in that fashion.
I thought you were going to say that's how they wrote the script, and I would.
No, that probably. I think this movie was written by a bag of cocaine. And it was the 80s, you know. Okay, so our story begins, and Todd, get ready because you're next. Our story begins in the magical Glo land, right, where we go into a Glo tree, and we see a Glo, the whole Glo family is hanging out there, right, and they're singing about how they're the Glo Friends.
Yes.
And that's the opening sequence is we're sort of flying through Glo land with the Glo bugs, Glo flies, or the firefly. I still don't quite understand all the characters because there's one that's kind of like a centipede. There's a glow worm. There's ones that can fly, and then there might even be one other kind of creature.
There's a turtle. I'm pretty sure I saw a spider.
Yeah, there's a guy in a top hat. Oh, cricket. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they're singing about how they all glow, right? This is sort of like what we in the biz like to call exposition, right? Getting a sense of who these Glo friends are. And then what is the first plot point, Todd? Like how do we get the story rolling from there?
Well, the first thing I noticed is then a snowball fight breaks out where they all tend to turn into stormtroopers and can't hit anything. And I can't tell if everybody was getting mad at each other or if they were having a good time with the snowball fight. But I guess whatever disputes were going on settled in pretty quickly after that. So, and then we see Santa, and then Blanche, the Wicked Witch of the North, who wants to become famous and end Christmas, and thinking that would really make her famous.
Yeah, so that's sort of the Act 1 setup, right?
Yeah.
That all that gets us to before the first commercial break, where Santa's doing his thing, Blanche is doing her thing, Glo Friends doing their thing, and then what happens, Duane?
I fell asleep. I had 4 attempts at watching this. That was seriously the first time I fell asleep. What I recall was a moose. Yes, having a discussion with Blanche and the fox around her neck, and the moose doesn't really want Blanche to. Is it Blanche or Blanche? It'd be Blanche, where I come from, I think.
Yeah.
To hurt Santa, but she sort of reminds him how Santa wouldn't let him pull his sleigh. That's about as far as I remember up to that point. So I'm not sure if I missed anything.
No.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So I think we get most of that information in song, of course. So Blanche is singing her song about, and I'm not really sure what her motivation is. Like, she's manipulating the moose, because he's not on board, right? He's saying, "Why are we doing this?" And so she reminds him, "Well, you wanted to pull his sleigh, and he wouldn't let you. So, like, are you going to stand for that?" That's how she's getting him on board. But the raccoon or the fox around her neck, I think, is just sort of like there for commentary and comic relief. But did anyone catch, like, what is it that she doesn't like about quote unquote comic relief minus the comedy? What
relief?
Why doesn't Blanche like Christmas?
She doesn't.
Sorry, if I jump. Oh, sorry.
She doesn't like Santa because he's famous and she's not. That's really it.
Oh, I see. It's pure jealousy.
Yes.
Because then she also at one point says, even after I kill Christmas, my work isn't done. The Easter Bunny is next. So I didn't know if she was. Did she say that?
Day.
She did.
Yes.
So I didn't know if she was just like this one, like all-purpose evil character, just doesn't like Christmas and wants to take it away from everybody, or if she had a specific. It's really because she wants to be more famous than Santa Claus.
Yeah. So her big plan for how to be famous is to take away these holidays, starting with Christmas. She thinks that's going to make her famous, which maybe, but I don't think you know how fame and adulation work.
So
you just take it.
So I think it is after the first commercial break or something like that, Blanche does her dirty work, which comes in what form, Mike Westfall?
It comes in the form of angry roaring clouds that oh wait, no, that's later. No. She casts some kind of spell on the forest where the Santa happens to be flying over, makes the trees come alive into giant angry ants, and they kind of knock Santa out of the sky. And
I think they
him.
Yeah, they grab him and they ground his.
Oh, that's right. They grab him and they trap him in this cage of ice with the reindeer, and all of the reindeer have human voices, and they're all shouting for help at the same time, and it's very unnerving.
You could say they've got the blues, and that's another.
Not only could you say it, you could sing it.
But should you?
With a dancing chorus line of reindeer.
This is what
singing
we know
about
as,
the blues.
Foreshadowing, everybody. We're going to get there.
In the world's strongest ice, I might add.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
A cage of strong ice. Yeah.
Okay, so Santa is grounded. His sleigh is pulled out of the sky by a tree upon which a spell has been cast. He falls down, and then he gets encased in a kind of it's in the middle of a river, so they're surrounded by water in all directions on like an ice flow, an iceberg. I don't know what you call it, like a structure of ice, right? And then he and all of the reindeer are trapped in this cage of ice. And then that is basically the setup for our story, right? And so now the Glo Friends, how did they get word of this?
They watched it. They saw it happen.
The dragonfly and the one that always rides the dragonfly saw it happen.
Oh,
I see.
There's an eyewitness. His name is Shuttlebug.
So apparently Glowworm Land is North Pole adjacent.
Apparently.
Yeah, I kept North Pole geography in every Christmas special is just all over the place. So, but when they set up the Glo Friends series later on, it's very green there. So I don't know, Canada?
It's cheaper to make the movies there, so that's what they did.
Yes.
They get a lot of tax breaks.
And so they get word, and then the Glo Friends make a couple of gallant attempts to go save Santa Claus, right? They make a caravan, and then Blanche is trying to thwart them at every stage, right? So they're walking through the woods, and then doesn't Blanche come and stop them somehow? I forget the first way that she stops them.
Well, first they split up because they hear the moose calling for help, and so half of them go to help the moose, who's creatively named Moose. And then the other half continue on to find Santa, and that's when Blanche shows up, makes ice flowers that for some reason become like Venus glowworm traps and catch all of the glowworms that are sniffing the ice flowers.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately, since they rescued the moose, the other half aren't stuck in flowers, so they break them out of the ice flowers.
And they're able to turn the moose like really quickly.
I don't think the moose was really ever in her camp.
No.
Like, especially as soon as Santa was in the thing, he in fact, he tries to stop her, and then she sends a spell to send him to the nowhere zone, which ends up just being a branch a couple of yards south of where the glowworms are.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was just so she could have a rhyming spell, but she makes a big deal about I'm sending you to the nowhere zone, and it's just over there a couple of yards.
I'm going to throw this out there. I don't think she's that great a wizard. She would get kicked out of Hogwarts in one semester.
When she took the moose to the nowhere zone, I thought, well, why didn't you do that to Santa instead of just ice prison? That's a much more dangerous spell.
Because it turns out it just means 50 yards that way. Yeah. It's not nowhere zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell what the plan was with Santa. Like, you trap him in ice, but like, then what? Like, was the idea that if the Glo Friends didn't come to save Santa Claus, that he would just be there forever?
Well, it was melting, so the roof was coming down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was gonna squish Santa, and eventually.
Yeah.
Why not just trap him in the ice when he was stuck in the water, and then he would be whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, her one thing is she wants to stop Santa from doing Christmas, so she traps him in the ice and then goes somewhere. What else do you have to do? This is a classic James Bond villain mistake. You have James Bond, you make sure the job is done. Nope, got to go over here and, sort my socks or what. I don't know what she did. Sorry, back to the plot synopsis.
Well, so then I think that carries us up to we get to the sort of third act crisis where Santa's really feeling down and out, really feeling hopeless. Really, he's got the blues, and when you got the blues, all you can do is just sing the blues.
Yeah, and it wasn't sad blues either. It was this upbeat Chicago style blues.
That's the least bluesy blues song I have ever heard.
And I must say, the inside of that jail cell is much larger than what it looks on the outside.
Yes.
Got a whole 8 can dancing reindeer in there.
So all of a sudden he starts to sing, I've got the blues, I've got there might not be a Christmas blues or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. With all the dancing reindeer singing like whatever you call that, he'll say like, I got the blues, and they'll say, he's got the blues. And then I guess that, like, as far as his plan went, like, that was it. He was going to just sing the blues and, I don't know, hope for the best.
He literally is like, someone will find us. That's our only shot. We can't try and figure out a way out of here. We're not, if he's in his sleigh, certainly somebody had a present that would cut through ice bars.
Well, I wonder if his plan was to sing that song so someone would come find him to shut him up.
And fortunately, the glowworms stumble upon him. So the Glo Friends, forgive me.
So then we get to the climactic scene, the most heartwarming scene, the scene that, like, the inevitable scene, right? The Glo Friends, how are they going to save Santa? well, they're going to glow. But they can't glow alone. Glowing is a communal endeavor to save Christmas. And so they all make a circle. And this was the whole physics of the ice castle and the glowing doesn't make any sense. But then there was that moment of like pseudo tension where one was like, I can't reach you. And it's like, but you're all standing in a circle. I just stepped like just a little bit closer. Problem solved. It's like, oh, my arm's too short.
I got to be on my mark.
But so finally they all glow. They sing a glow song and they hold hands and they glow. And then the glow melts the ice, but somehow in a way that is more benign than if the ice were to melt like just normal style.
Right.
Because there was a time where the ice is melting and it looks like it's going to hurt Santa Claus.
Right.
And then they come along and they melt the ice, but just, I guess, in a different way, like with their glow powers.
Yes, somehow magically.
But it doesn't melt the ice that they're standing on.
Nope, not at all. Not one bit.
But the turtle and whoever was on the turtle was able to melt the ice that Blanche was standing on as they were crossing the river to send her down the river. But the ice that Santa was standing on remained frozen. So I'm not sure how glow powers and ice melting physics works.
Selective melting. And they melt her magic wand. Her magic wand is apparently also made of ice.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a lightning bolt.
Right.
And don't think I didn't notice that it was using Star Wars sound effects whenever that she was using that magic wand. I'm like, that is a lightsaber battle, specifically the one from Empire.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Now we're all like,
Now oh man, I didn't want to go back and watch this.
Yeah, now we have to.
So anyway, Santa's back. Hooray. He's free from the ice. He goes and delivers presents. And, he asks the moose to help him get out of there, and the glowworms to light his way, because apparently they need any light all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because they left Rudolph home. You don't leave Rudolph home.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't afford the rights to Rudolph.
That's probably what it was.
He gets too much per episode now. He can't.
So let's put this into context, right? This is one of those TV specials that came out in the mid-'80s, like the Cabbage Patch Kids' First Christmas, Santa Comes to Pac-Land, Deck the Halls with Wacky Walls. There was a Ziggy, like these very cartoons based on a toy. It was basically not even a thinly veiled, just a blatant advertisement for that toy. But of all of them, like, honestly, if you go back and watch the Cabbage Patch Kids' First Christmas, like, it's not bad. I mean, it's not good, but it's not bad either. It's not like as bad as you would imagine it would be. And I feel like that's maybe why I'm willing to give this one a pass. Like, it's, it has that like cheesy 80s product placement feel where it's just sort of like they have a character, just like, give us a character, we'll make a plot around it and basically make a half-hour commercial out of it. But like storytelling wise, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Brian raves, it's not the worst thing in the world. Put that on the box.
It's not glowing praise.
That'd be the title of this video.
But so,
did anyone notice Santa's ears?
Yes, he had elf ears.
Yes, elf ears.
Yeah, elf ears.
And so I'll tell you, I watched this a couple of times. I've seen it before, and then I watched it again last week in preparation for this. And then I watched it over Thanksgiving with some kids I was hanging out with, this 10-year-old kid. And that was the first thing that she noticed, was that Santa had elf ears. And she was saying, why? And I was like, well, on the night before Christmas, he's described as a right jolly old elf. Maybe that's why. And like, she bought that one pretty quickly. But yeah, that was one of the first things you noticed about Santa, is that he's perhaps not fully human. Or not meant to appear fully human. He's meant to look like an elf.
I watched this whole thing and didn't even notice his ears.
I'm trying to think. The only like trivia, like behind the scenes stuff, is Sally Struthers and Carol O'Connor, of course, Archie Bunker, and I forget what Sally Struthers' character on All in the Family was, but little reunion of sorts for them. Assuming they were in the same room when they did it.
I doubt it.
The Moose's voice. The Moose, voiced by Lorenzo Music.
Yes, the voice of Garfield.
There's a fly around here.
Yes, and this is the first time I've ever heard Lorenzo Music try and use a different voice. He has kind of a nervous lisp with this moose. Every other thing I've ever heard Lorenzo Music do, it's just he's got resting Garfield voice. But this, he kind of tried to branch out, and then I guess he decided, well, that went terribly. I'm going to make Peter Venkman just sound like he ate Garfield.
So do you guys have a favorite 80s Christmas cartoon in this vein?
I like the Ziggy one quite a bit. It's got a real nice. Yeah, I like it.
It is very heartwarming.
Yeah, it's really sweet and sappy.
Out of the ones you mentioned, Pac-Land is my favorite, but I think my favorite existing toy crossover into a Christmas special has to be He-Man and She-Ra.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
They did a Christmas special for He-Man?
Oh my goodness, yes.
You've never seen that?
Oh.
We should have done that.
Skeletor has a face turn and everything.
Yeah, it's He-Man and She-Ra. And what is it? Is that the name of it? It's like He-Man and She-Ra.
He-Man and She-Ra, a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Very, very creative.
Yeah, that's
I remember a Yogi Bear Christmas special where Yogi hibernated but had to wake up early and he got to celebrate Christmas.
Oh, Yogi's First Christmas. Yeah.
It's something that I remember from back then.
That was like all the Hanna-Barbera characters, like all of them from all the like Snagglepuss and the Pink Panther, or like all those guys are in that one.
Is that the one where they're all hanging out at the ski lodge?
Yes.
Okay.
They all get snowed in. It's like one of those plots. And then there's another one. This one makes absolutely no sense. Not that these other ones do make any kind of sense, but there's remember the comic strip BC?
Oh yes, yep.
Yeah, it's the BC Christmas special. I was like,
wow,
guys,
let's do this again with that one.
Didn't the Flintstones also have a Christmas special?
Yeah.
They had a few.
Yeah, Flintstones had some.
Well, they had one where they're doing a Christmas Carol.
Yes.
I don't know if that's from the same era, because that also makes me think of the Mr.
No, I think that one they did in the 90s.
Oh,
but
really?
Then they had one where Fred kind of needs to take over for Santa, and I think that's earlier.
Okay.
I'm not sure how early. I would say 70s at some point, but Flintstone Christmas Carol is definitely way newer than that.
Yeah, I think it was for the Cartoon Network. It was like a special for the Cartoon Network.
So I looked it up, and this was technically in the 80s, 1989. I'm going to go with the Simpsons roasting on an open fire for my Christmas special. Another special that triggered a series, but remarkably better than this one.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to think if there are any, like, they don't really do these anymore, right? These are definitely of a bygone era. I would say that like sometime in the 90s they stopped, and especially the style of animation, like the 2D, hand-drawn animation.
I know what is it called? It just fell out of my head. The Mickey Mouse one with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse had a Christmas special where they had to help Santa.
Okay.
So it was a half-hour Christmas special. I mean, I don't know if it's like a popular one that they run every year. I mean, they must.
They do.
Oh, okay. There you go. I know it was popular in my house for about a year and a half.
Yep.
I'm quite sheltered down here. We don't have any of those playing on our TV.
Well, you have YouTube. I suppose you can.
Yeah, a lot of catching up to do.
Pretty sure that Mickey Mouse Clubhouse one is on Disney Plus.
We don't have that yet.
Oh, no.
About
the whole country?
About a month, I think. It's coming. Yeah.
Then no Mandalorian spoilers. We'll keep them tight.
Yeah. I've seen the trailer. That looks good.
But with these crossover Christmas specials, product placement cartoons from the 80s, it seems like there are two basic plots, right? There's someone has to save Christmas because Santa is in jeopardy, or someone has to learn the true meaning of Christmas because they're not familiar with it. Like the Cabbage Patch Kids, they'd never, heard of Christmas before. I think that's the same with Ziggy. Isn't that the plot? He has to find the true meaning of Christmas. Deck the halls with wacky walls. And by the way, for anyone like listening or watching who doesn't know what that is, those wacky wall walkers, in my experience with those is they used to come in boxes of Fruit Loops. Like that would be like the prize, and there were these octopus things that were rubber and sticky. You throw them on a wall and they would appear to crawl down the wall. Those had their own Christmas special in which they were space aliens who come to Earth and they have to learn the true meaning of Christmas. I feel like that's one where the most amount of thought had to be put into it. Because how are we going to sell this? Like, how are we going to make this work? Give me something. I need something.
I think we can stop talking about the current generation of kids having worse TV than we did, because clearly they did not.
No.
I will say this is the generation that I'm from is the one that gave us that iconic cartoon of the kid ice skating and he falls down and he's wiping tears from his eyes, and then Ronald McDonald shows up and they ice skate together. One of the few times I've ever maybe been moved to tears watching a TV commercial. You don't get that anymore.
Well, now I just want a Big Mac.
The fox and her Nick Scarfy fox. That was Charlie Adler, who incidentally voiced Starscream in all the Transformers films.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's gone on to big things.
Yeah, and he was also the voice of Buster Bunny, which you can kind of hear from Tiny Toon Adventures.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, do we want to talk about voices? I have them all written down. Well, not all of them, but there are a few. Glowworm, who's kind of the leader of the Glo Friends here. We all know Glowworm. I still have my Glowworm, but he's voiced by Pat Fraley. He's got a whole big, huge resume of voices that he's done in the 80s. But my favorite is in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. He was the voice of Krang. So try and put those two together. And
why didn't they have a Christmas special?
They did, but not animated. It was like, you remember the Coming Out of Their Shells tour where it was the live action turtles and they were really bad? Yeah, it was those turtles had a Christmas special. It's on this level.
Well, then I'll skip it. Wasn't the dude who voiced Slimer in the Real Ghostbusters also in this?
That's Frank Welker. Yeah, he was just some minor character. One of the other Glo Friends who has one line and then is out of there. And I think he was one of Santa's elves, real quickly.
Yes. I was like, I heard him twice at least.
Yeah, you can hear him. And then the only one that I knew right off the top of my head was Laurie O'Brien, who's the voice of Piggy and Muppet Babies, is Baby Glowworm in this. Because it's just her baby Piggy voice. And I was just like, hey, I know that. And I think Russie Taylor shows up to do a line or two, which she did a lot. She's most famous as the voice of Minnie Mouse, but she was also Huey, Dewey, and Louie on DuckTales. So yeah, I think it was somewhere close to she was also Martin Prince on The Simpsons. So the one of the smarter Glo Friends, Glo Bookworm, there it is, has the Russie Taylor Martin Prince voice.
Which one of these characters do you identify with the most?
Blanche.
Yes.
not her anti-Christmas thing, but her anti-glowworms thing. I'm like, get him!
Oh, the glowworms, they remind me a lot of the Smurfs because there was one for like each kind of thing. You had one show up out of nowhere that had a baseball bat and talked like he was, the sports guy, and then you had the painter with the paint all over his white jacket. It was
yeah,
and we forgot about that. That's another 80s cartoon, 'Tis the Season to Be Smurfy, which is another one that's actually not terrible.
Better than that.
I don't know if I trust your judgment on these anymore. You gave this a 4.
I don't know. I think it's I think it's so hard to watch something like this as an adult that you have fond memories of as a kid, because on the one hand, you're definitely like some of the bloom is off the rose, right? You're like, why did I like this when I was a kid? But like at the same time, it's triggering those warm memories.
Mm-hmm.
So it leaves you feeling a little bit like disoriented, right? Because on the one hand, you're sort of triggering this nice memory, and on the other hand, you're kind of coming out. It's like that feeling of coming out of a warm bath and knowing that like you can't go back into the warm bath. So I think it's I don't know. That's where I'm coming from with all that. It takes me back to that time, and anything that can do that is going to get a plus in my book. But then, yes, it's plain to see that on its face, this is a pretty terrible. The quality of animation's not that good. The plot's not all that great. But also, I don't know. I kind of wish we could go back to a time like that where something that's popular, if something is popular enough, like in the 80s, there was if something was popular, there'd be a toy, there would be its own line of breakfast cereal, there would be a cartoon, and a full line of merchandise. As far as I know, there was like strawberry shortcake cereal. There was, and they had all those Christmas cereals. Remember like the Smurfberry Crunch Christmas cereal and Captain Crunch Christmas?
They still have that.
Do they?
Well,
The Captain Crunch Christmas, yeah.
I saw the Rice Krispies where there's nothing special about them except that some of them are randomly red or green. They don't taste different.
Well, see, if they did that now, the popular thing would be a lady yelling at a cat. And that's hard to make cereal out of and a cartoon special out of.
Well, they made a Star Wars cereal. And
I've had a bunch of those. I remember C-3POs when I was a kid.
I mean, right now there's one for the new movies coming out.
Yeah.
There's a dark side and a light side one. Spoiler alert, they're both off-brand Lucky Charms.
We didn't have any of that.
No?
No, we've only been around since the 70s as a country. No, we're pretty sheltered. Well, I remember back when I was old enough to watch those and eat that cereal, we were outside. You know, we not like the kids of today, which they have got all these screens. Back then, we were just outside and we didn't watch much TV.
It's also summer there.
Yeah, and two TV channels, Channel 1 and Channel 2. So yeah, as you say, it's summer here, so we were outside, so it's a completely different experience.
So you watching it for the first time almost certainly do not have the same experience with it that I have watching it 40 odd years later.
Yeah, and to get a little bit sidetracked, even like It's a Wonderful Life, which I love as a movie now, I only saw for the first time from maybe 2-3 years ago.
Wow.
And it took me about 3 attempts to actually get through it, because the first time I'm like, what is this? Why do people love it?
Yeah.
Now it's one of my favorites. So I just persisted with it, and now I have a history with it. So it would have been the same perhaps if I had grown up with this as well.
It's an interesting question. Are there any quote-unquote Christmas classics that anyone here has like either not seen or saw much, much later in life?
Christmas in Connecticut was another one I've only just recently seen.
Yeah, I saw that as an adult.
And White Christmas maybe about 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's the same for me. I've only seen that recently. And the very first time I ever saw the story play out was in a stage production that I went to with my family. And then I decided to watch the movie. And then what's the one? There's not everything from that bygone era is stands the test of time. What is the one where Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby are in? It's like the Something Inn.
Holiday Inn. Where the song
that
came
was
from.
Before White Christmas,
Where there's there's like a form of entertainment that thankfully is no longer popular. It came from the vaudeville era, and I'm just going to leave it there. Watch at your own peril, guys. It's doesn't really hold up today.
I still don't think I've seen all of White Christmas. Now, I still haven't seen it.
We watched White Christmas and Holiday Inn, and I remember watching those in the 5th grade, like the last week before Christmas vacation. Our teacher showed us both of them, and at whatever age you are in the 5th grade, they didn't hold our attention very well. So I put them on the back. I put them on the shelf for quite a while, and probably watched them again in my mid-20s. And I could appreciate them then.
So getting back to the idea of the 80s cartoons, would you guys say that Garfield, that cartoon is in the same vein? I mean, it's based on something that was already popular in its own right, had its own line of merch, and then inevitably had its own Christmas cartoon special. But for some reason, a lot of people, I think, hold that with a lot more reverence or something. Like it's a lot of people that I know, it's their favorite Christmas cartoon of all.
Wow.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like it's in the same, take it or leave it. It's fine. If it's on, I'll watch it kind of thing.
It's pretty good. If I remember right, I think it was up for some awards too, the year it came out. But for some reason, it just didn't hold very well like some of the other ones. I don't know if it's because
I think sorry to interrupt. I think
That's
it was
all right.
nominated for an Emmy, but
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, they give these Emmys for outstanding animated special or outstanding children's special. So a lot of Christmas specials like that would win in the 80s. The only reason Garfield didn't win that year was because the Claymation Christmas special won that year, and that is just a feat in and of itself.
Which Claymation one?
The one with the California raisins singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
And I remember watching that live when I was a kid, and the hype build up to it. And as a kid, I was so disappointed because I wanted more raisins. There was not enough. There was not enough raisins in that show.
No, they kind of shoehorn them into the end, so you have to watch the whole thing just to get to the raisins. That's how they.
I went to go see like the California raisins on ice, and it was the same thing. They didn't bring the raisins out till like the very end. I'm like, I only came here for raisins. It wasn't like I was a huge ice skating fan. I'm like, oh, I hope she does a plie or whatever you do in ice skating. I just wanted to see the raisins.
Had to go to make that point in my life. Had to go to McDonald's and try to collect all 155 raisin toys that came in the Happy Meal.
Wow.
You know? Or whatever it was. It was like the Smurfs. It all goes. The 80s all go back to the Smurfs. So.
And that raisins one is probably the purest form of like marketing, right? Wasn't it like the California Raisin Council or something had put together that whole thing because raisins, their sales had fallen really flat. I think people kind of associated them with like prunes. They're basically the same thing. And so they just created these characters out of whole cloth specifically to help sell raisins. And then it was almost like those Geico cavemen where they just became popular in their own right. And then the next thing you know, they have a Christmas special.
Yeah. And we see it now with avocados. Avocado characters are everywhere.
Oh, really?
Because some PR people got a hold of avocados and turning their PR around for the better.
Yeah.
So,
the raisins thing was after their failed attempt to get in Back to the Future. They paid a bunch of money for a sponsorship, and you can only see one billboard on a bus bench that the homeless guy is on at the very end. And so when the movie came out, they're like, we will be taking our money back and suing you now.
Really? Did not know that. All right. Is it time to wrap this one up?
I mean, I think we've mined all the gold we can out of the Glo Friends.
Although, what is the connection between the Glo Friends and Teddy Ruxpin? Are they... Weren't they in the same family?
I mean, they might both be Hasbro.
I thought, didn't Teddy Ruxpin have a friend who was some kind of worm?
He did. His name was Grubby, but he did not glow.
Oh, he wasn't a glow? Okay.
He was just a regular old worm.
And Glowworm was separate, but the Glo Friends, they did have they were smaller rubber figures like Smurfs and Care Bears, and they were that sort of line. So every character you see in this special already existed. So that's why you get scenes where they have to say their names. Or just like, hand me that pie, bashful bug. Or
bashful bug.
I really wish
so parents know who to buy.
Well, I'm assuming the version we all saw was the one that's on YouTube where the commercials are cut out, but it would be really interesting to watch it in context and like see what all of the commercial, because like obviously they're all for the Glo Friends. And it's really interesting. Some of the older cartoon specials like Rudolph, when that first came out in the 60s, this was from back in the day where like a sponsor would run the entire show, right? Like, now you see a show and it's brought to you by, like Tide and Whisk and like all these. But it was not uncommon for one sponsor to have the entire show to themselves, and that even the characters from that show would appear in the commercials during the commercial breaks to create a sense of continuity. And so when I was doing my episode on Rudolph, the person I was talking to was describing all this to me, and I've been trying really hard to find them because apparently when they went to commercial breaks, it was the same claymation characters who were selling like General Electric stuff because GE had sponsored the whole thing. And I'm not able to find those anywhere, but I'd love to see those. And I'm sure like in the 80s, when this thing came out, it was all like Glo Friends commercials. And it would just be really interesting to see how it tied in with the actual content of the show.
Probably a lot of Hasbro commercials and My Little Pony and that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm sure Ronald McDonald skated by to pick that kid up.
I have to say, I watched this. I clicked on a different YouTube video, and it got to the point where they had rescued Santa. And I looked at the bar, and it still had 20 minutes left. I was like, what are they going to do for another 20 minutes? Santa's rescued. And then it went credits, and it started another episode of just the random Glo Friends. I was like, I'm done!
Oh.
That was the best ending in the world. But no commercials on that one either.
All right. Well, if anyone would like to watch the Glo Friends Save Christmas, it is just a YouTube search away. So if you have 22 minutes to take a trip back to the 80s or not, if you have 22 minutes that you'd like to save and do something else with, you can. That's certainly an option too. But no, anyone who's a child of the 70s and 80s who wants to take a little trip down memory lane, it's 20 minutes well spent. It's 20 minutes of your life you'll never get back. I think we can all agree on that. But if there's nothing else going on, you may as well check it out. Todd,
if you have a bunch of friends at a Christmas party and you want to do a Mystery Science Theater 3000 style event, this is, boom, you're in there, you're out of there, 20 minutes, everybody gets their jokes in, you'll have a good time.
Todd, parting thoughts from you?
It was definitely 80s. The moose, I think, was the best part of it. And I couldn't even tell you why. Probably just because he just reminded me of Garfield. But I would say if you want to see it, it's 20 minutes that you won't terribly regret.
Todd raves. You won't terribly regret it.
All right, Duane, parting thoughts?
I know I was a little bit hard on it, but it really did bring back the nostalgia of the 80s, even though it in itself I wouldn't watch again. I think I'm going to hunt out the Yogi Bear one and some of the other ones that we've mentioned just for the nostalgia of it. So it did do that.
I will say the Yogi Bear one is really hard to find. It's not on YouTube. Or if it is, I just haven't been able to find it. I think that one, whoever owns that content has been able to kind of keep a lid on it.
Oh, if I find it, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should say I'm a big collector of those, and this is only people of a certain age will know what I'm talking about, those storybooks that came with a 45 record. You guys remember those? Yes. And the record will play, the story in the book and say, when you hear the chimes, it's time to turn the page. I have a ton of Christmas ones of those, including this Santa Claus, a Christmas Pac-Man one where baby Pac-Man has to make presents for his kid. If anyone, so little plug, go to my YouTube channel right now and I made a video where I'm sitting in front of a cardboard fireplace listening to this because the story's only 10 minutes long. So it's sort of like the Christmas Past Yule log. So you can hear the whole story. And I got a couple more of those coming out. Perfect. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because back to the 80s, there's a strawberry shortcake one, which is a bizarre story. Like strawberry shortcake and blueberry muffin and all of her friends are in this story. And as far as I know, the only version of it is this record and storybook thing. So I'm going to make a video and put it on my YouTube channel so everyone can check it out.
Also, you can find the Yogi Bear Christmas on Daily Motion.
Oh, cool. Good old Daily Motion.
That's where
we don't care about copyright infringement. Daily Motion.
That's where the Santa Pac-Man one is. And there's also on Daily Motion a fairly good Inspector Gadget Christmas special.
I've seen that.
Yeah, have you?
Yes.
Do you agree with my
assessment like it was any good?
That it's fairly good?
Mike, with your...
I will say that.
Off you go. I'll have to hunt that one out too. Because I do remember Inspector Gadget from the 80s, late 80s, early 90s would be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had Saturday morning TV. Inspector Gadget was on there. So, yeah.
All right, Tim, that leaves it to you to bring it on home with our final report on Glo Friends Save Christmas.
Well, even though I assume it did not win the Emmy that year, but like Duane said, we're being hard on it, but it was still, there's another podcast I listen to where they rate movies called is it a bad movie, a good bad movie, or a movie you kind of liked? I definitely didn't kind of like it, but I would say this is definitely the good bad kind of movie. It's bad in a way that it's enjoyable to watch and make fun, make goof 'em ups with your friends. So watch 20 minutes, take 20 minutes and give yourself a laugh.
Well, on that note, from all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas and happy viewing. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.
Merry Christmas!
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good day.
Yeah.
And there you have it. Hope I wasn't too hard on those Glo friends. And if you would actually like to see what you just heard, keep your eye on the Christmas Past YouTube channel. Brian's going to post the entire video chat, so you can see what we look like while we're discussing the Glo friends. Spoiler alert, I'm the goofy looking one. But speaking of me on Brian's feed, you can also catch me on 2 other episodes of Christmas Past. The first was the show we recorded live at the Dickens Fair. I mentioned it last time, but it was a lot of fun, so I thought it was worth mentioning again. Then, get ready for a weird one. Brian, myself, and Craig Kringle from Weird Christmas talked to Richard Parks III, host of Richard's Famous Food Podcast, about that classic, or is it Vlasic Christmas tradition, the Christmas pickle. That was a wacky show, and you should give it a listen. And if you hadn't had enough of me in your ears talking Christmas stuff, there's still more chances. First, if you haven't listened to episodes 578 and 579 of the Mousetalgia podcast, get on over there and do it. I'm on both, and we're having a great time, talking about the Disney Plus movie Noel and my top 5 favorite Disney Christmas overlays. Then I was also invited on the Friday 5 podcast with Laura and Jane to talk about my favorite Christmas songs. Links to all that stuff is going to be in the show notes of this episode, as well as a poll to vote in the Christmas Bowl. So be sure to vote once a day until December 13th, and I'll see you back here on the 15th for our next regular episode. And in the meantime, you will believe us, keep laughing all the way.
And that was Christmas 1983.
Actually, Dad, it's 2019.
Oh.
Ho, ho, ho! Thank you for listening to the Can't Wait for Christmas podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us on iTunes, or we're available on Stitcher and Google Play as well. If you'd like to leave a comment on this or any episode, go to our official website at can'twaitforchristmaspod.com. While you're there, you'll find a link to our official Zazzle store, where you can grab customizable t-shirts, ornaments, bumper stickers, and all sorts of other Christmas merchandise all year long. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/can'twaitforchristmaspod. Or on Twitter, we are @ChristmasPod. Or you could always send us an email directly at christmas@tancast.com. The Can't Wait for Christmas podcast is part of the Tancast Podcast Network. We Wish You a Merry Christmas was performed by the United States Marine Corps Band, and this amazing version of Jingle Bells on the accordion was performed by the wonderful and talented Kristen Nowicki. All other music and sounds used in this episode are the properties of their individual copyright holders, and no infringement is intended. Okay, boys, did I forget anything?
God bless us, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho!